Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The sun hung low over the Bay of Naples, casting a golden glow across the bustling streets of Pompeii. The city, alive with the chatter of merchants and the laughter of children, blossomed beneath the clear blue sky. For years, life had thrived under the benevolent watch of Mount Vesuvius, the silent giant standing unchanged in the distant horizon. But something in the air was shifting, like a subtle tremor beneath the calm surface, unnoticed by most yet deeply felt by one. Gaius, the 20-year-old son of Marcus, Pompeii's esteemed baker, wiped sweat from his brow as he kneaded dough in the family's oven-lit shop near the Forum. The warm scent of freshly baked bread mingled with the salty breeze drifting in from the sea. It was another ordinary day, or so it seemed. But since dawn, an unease had nestled deep in Gaius's chest, prickling at his nerves. His hands paused, flour dust rising like a ghost as he glanced toward the open doorway. Overhead, the sky had shifted from its usual cobalt to a faint ashen veil. Behind him, the heavy oven quietly hummed, its heat filling the cramped kitchen. Yet the air felt thicker, almost suffocating. In the distance, Vesuvius loomed, its perfect cone marred by a subtle, ominous billowing of dark smoke curling from the summit. Gaius's heart tightened. He'd never seen the mountain like this. "Gaius, come now, lad," Marcus called, his voice gruff but calm. "The bread must go to the market. We have orders to fill before midday." Gaius obeyed but hesitated before stepping outside. The marketplace was a riot of activity, merchants shouting their wares, buyers haggling, and animals weaving through the crowd. But his eyes kept drifting back to the mountain. The smoke thickened, turning from a gentle gray to an angry black swirl. The birds overhead scattered in nervous flocks. That morning, as the family delivered trays of warm bread to the market stalls, Gaius noticed others sharing his concern, although few voiced it aloud. In the tavern, whispers of minor tremors were exchanged. Farmers spoke of strange earth tremors shaking their fields last night, and fishermen recounted unsettled seas. People tried to ignore the signs, caught up in their daily routines and festivals for Vesuvius's guardian deity. But Gaius felt compelled to act. He remembered his youth in the countryside surrounding Pompeii, where old stories were told about the mountain's wrath. His grandfather had once spoken of the great fires that could emerge when the mountain awoke. His fingers curled tightly over a loaf of bread as he resolved not to be caught as those ancient warnings. He hurried back to the bakery, where his mother was kneading dough with the same precision and grace as his father. "Mother, father," he said, voice low and urgent, "something is wrong with Vesuvius. The mountain smokes like a storm brews inside. You must warn the others." Marcus frowned, brushing flour from his hands. "It is but a minor vent, son. The mountain has been calm longer than anyone here alive has seen. It will not trouble us." "But the earth trembled last night," Gaius persisted. "I felt it beneath my feet even now. We shouldn't wait." His mother glanced toward the window, shadows stretching long as the smoke thickened. "Even if you are right, what can we do? We have no means to leave quickly. Our lives are here." Gaius's eyes burned with urgency. "We can warn the city. People can prepare, maybe even evacuate. I can carry the message." Marcus exchanged a worried look with his wife. The thought of fleeing was as implausible as it was terrifying. Pompeii was home, and life's routines anchored them all. Yet the boy's resolve stirred something in Marcus, a flicker of dread he had tried to silence. Before they could argue further, a distant rumble shook the stones beneath their feet. Plates on the shelves rattled. The ground seemed to pulse, a terrible heartbeat from the mountain itself. Patrons in nearby shops spilled into the street, faces pale as they looked upward. Without a word, Gaius seized a knapsack, grabbing some bread and water. "I will go. Spread the word, tell them to prepare. Please trust me." Marcus's gaze hardened, but in his heart, he knew he could not stop the boy. Go swiftly, but be careful. Return as soon as you can. Gaius nodded, determination tightening every sinew. He darted out into the streets, weaving through crowds now thick with rumors and rising panic. He climbed higher into the city, toward the forum, where magistrates and city elders convened. He passed a group of soldiers, their faces grim as they spoke of strange fires blazing in the mountain's forests. Reaching the peristyle of the forum, Gaius found a gathering of worried citizens. He stepped onto a stone bench and raised his voice. People of Pompeii, our mountain, Vesuvius, awakens. Smoke blackens her peak, and the earth trembles beneath us. We must prepare to flee. Gather your families, secure your valuables. Listen to your leaders, but do not hesitate to seek safety. Murmurs swirled. Some scoffed, others nodded with growing concern. The consuls had yet to issue official statements, but the people's fear was plain. Meanwhile, the sky darkened noticeably, as if impending dusk were fast approaching midday. Amidst the crowd, an elderly priest of Vulcan, the god of fire, stepped forward. His eyes, clouded but sharp, fixed on Vesuvius. The mountain speaks in wrath. We must pray for mercy and offer sacrifices. It is the god's test. Gaius understood the appeal of faith, but his resolve was pragmatic. Faith and prayers may aid our spirits, but we must save our lives. The mountain's fury is not legend, it is here. As afternoon slipped into a fearful twilight, the vibrations deepened. The earth convulsed in heavy trembles, cracks appearing along the roads. Houses shook violently. Pots and jars crashed in the shop stalls. A distant roar widened into a cacophony. The crowd scattered, rushing toward their homes or the city's edge. Gaius ran toward the bakery, heart pounding. When he arrived, his family was already packing what they could carry. Marcus had loaded their wagons with food, blankets, and water. His mother clutched the youngest children close, their faces pale but determined. Are you ready? Marcus asked, gripping Gaius's shoulder. Ready, Gaius answered, eyes never leaving the darkening mountain. The air was thick with ash now, drifting down like death's snow. Together, the family joined a growing stream of Pompeii's citizens moving toward the city gates. But chaos reigned. Cries of confusion and fear filled the air as the ground tore open in places. A vast red glow bloomed atop Vesuvius, and columns of ash, stone, and fire erupted violently toward the heavens. The volcano unleashed fury in an unprecedented display. To Gaius, it seemed that the mountain itself was tearing the world apart, spewing a fiery plague that devoured the sky. People screamed, pushing toward the gates that were slowly closing under soldiers' commands. We must haste, Marcus shouted, urging the oxen forward. Yet the fleeing mass was hindering them. Fear became a crushing weight. Gaius's legs ached as he ran alongside the cart, eyes brimming with smoke and ash. Suddenly, the ground quaked violently beneath them, a roaring thunder that shook the souls of men. Pebbles rained onto their skin, and above, firestones churned through the dark haze, hissing and burning where they landed. Gaius's mind raced with memories of warnings and old tales. The pyroclastic flow might strike at any moment, a deadly, swift wave of ash and gas. He urged the oxen onward despite the rising ash cloud engulfing the city like a suffocating shadow. They reached the city gates just as the soldiers slammed them shut, but a young guard, eyes wild with terror, stepped aside to let Marcus and his family through with a hurried gesture. Gaius glanced back to see the streets swallowed in darkness, as ash choked out the sun. Outside the walls, the countryside stretched before them, but even here the air was thick and suffocating. The river Sarno overflowed nearby, its banks trembling in the seismic turmoil. Animals bolted, their panicked cries piercing the blanket of ash. With every step away from the city, Gaius's heart ached. Pompeii, his home, was being consumed, its streets, its temples, its people swallowed beneath lava, ash, and despair. Yet with his family safe, he held onto a fragile hope. The night was spent under a canopy of ash, fires flickering in the distance. Rumors circulated that no one had escaped from the city's heart. Still, Gaius comforted his younger siblings, his resolve firm. He had listened to the mountain's voice in time, had he not? Days followed, and as the ash cloud began to settle, the survivors whispered of a city lost, a civilization buried but not erased. Explorers and officials would come later, documenting, carving through the layers of destruction to uncover Pompeii's secrets. Gaius's family had survived by the grace of his vigilance. From the ashes of calamity, their story would be passed down, an echo of courage and the instinct to heed the earth's warnings. Though Pompeii was gone, the spirit of its people lived on in those who escaped, who remembered, and who rebuilt. And within Gaius, the baker's son who sensed danger before the mountain's fury, a quiet flame burned, a testament to the power of foresight, family, and the will to survive. For more stories, like and subscribe.